Filming on location today at Russia Canyon, outside Cloudcroft, New Mexico. Again in the magnificent Lincoln National Forest. Today we're going to discuss backpacking food, some options as to what you might carry, some things that you possibly had not considered, and some interesting combinations that I've come up with over the years that I think will make you very happy on the trail. Hi folks, Dan with High Country again. In a previous episode, we discussed backpacking stoves, so the natural progression to me seemed to be, let's go to backpacking rations, the things that we might cook on those stoves, and I'll give you a little overview of what's available out there in conventional backpacking ration terms, and also some things that you may not have thought about, but are already familiar with that really work very, very well for eating on the trail. So let's start here. When people first start backpacking, they will generally go to the internet and look up backpacking food or backpacking rations. And this is generally what you are going to find. These are pre-prepared portions. They will be generally freeze-dried, occasionally find them dehydrated, but generally freeze-dried. And what you're going to do is simply tear off the top, add a preset amount of boiling water, seal the envelope back up, and wait anywhere from 4 to 10 minutes or so. And it'll reconstitute, and you're gonna have a nice, hot, filling meal. These are, they're really two companies in the game as far as I'm concerned, Mountain House and Backpacker's Pantry. There are others, there's Alpine Air, there's Peak. There are a number of other companies, but these are the two that have really been good to me. There is one dish in the Mountain House line, and that is turkey Tetrazzini, which I refer to as turkey tetrachloride, that I don't particularly care for, but the rest of their line I've been very, very happy with. Backpacker's Pantry, there are 2 Asian dishes that I can't remember off the top of my head, but everything else I've gotten from Backpacker's Pantry, again, has been a good meal. I've enjoyed it on the trail and felt like it was a good value. My concern with these is that they are expensive. These are $6 to $15 a piece, depending on what you get. So really, you could get a lobster tail or a steak or something high dollar at a restaurant for the price of a dehydrated meal on the trail. And while they're perfectly serviceable, there are options that I think will be just as good and save you some money. So let's look into a couple of those. One of the first I'm going to recommend is right here. Knorr Lipton. There are a number of companies that make these. They're not necessarily instant, but they're very quick cooking rice and pasta dishes. They'll come in a whole bunch of flavors. Again, this one is a 240 calorie per serving. I think it was $1.49. And if you catch them on sale or coupon shop, you can get them even cheaper, which compares very favorably to these high dollar backpacking rations. Now, just rice or just pasta may not seem like a whole meal for most people, so we have these wonderful new things, and this is tuna in these little aluminized Mylar bags. These are 80 calorie servings. They come in a number of flavors. This is bacon ranch. They also come in plain tuna and several other flavors. Nice thing here is you add this tuna to this when you're cooking. Now you've got a little more hearty, a little more protein infused meal to help you get down the trail. Here's something else to consider. Folks, you got to pack all of this in and pack it back out with you. You cannot burn plastic. You cannot burn foam. You cannot burn this Mylar or the aluminum. Pack it in, pack it out. This kind of packaging is going to be a lot more simple from you than cans or jars or bottles or that sort of thing. These will squish up to a very small size. They'll go into a space that a whole can of tuna won't. And when you're done, you have a nice, flat, folding envelope that you can slip inside your other empty envelopes, and your trash pile becomes a very small and easy thing to manage. But it's an interesting way to look at a meal. Now you've got pasta and meat, rice and meat for, what do we got in here? $3 for a meal instead of $6 to $15. Something to consider. Here's another option. These are Idahoan. There are other brands. These are instant mashed potatoes, and they work just like backpacking rations. Add hot water, stir, and they are potatoes. Now, they will not be quite as good as if you made home hand mashed potatoes with milk and everything in your kitchen, but these are very, very serviceable potatoes. They come in a number of flavors. These are baby reds, but there's bacon, there's a bunch of other stuff. I think, again, they're $1.49 or something of that nature. This is 110 calories per serving, which means we're going to be about 440 calories per bag, which is a nice caloric content, lots of carbs, easy to make. Something that we've all used at home, but you probably wouldn't think about on the trail. I'm sorry, I'm slowly being consumed by black flies and gnats, but it's something you would not consider. It's really great trail food and something to keep in mind. Here's another interesting one. This is instant cornbread mix. Just add water and you've got cornbread batter. Again, I wouldn't take this entire thing on the trail. I'd set out a prearranged amount at home in a Ziploc because I'd probably only make cornbread one night on the trail. Take it with me, add water, and you're ready to go. Now, it's not something you can do in 5 minutes like you can the freeze-dried or dehydrated rations. But when you've finished for the day, you've got your hard camp set, you got a fire ring up, you got a campfire going with some coals, whip up a batch of this cornbread mix, put it in the pans, which I will show you in our next video. We'll make some cornbread and have some hot, fresh cornbread by the fire. That psychological victory is very, very important, and hot, fresh cornbread or things like that will really make your trail experience a whole lot more pleasant, and it often will take you from, that was a pretty good trip, to, man, that trip really kicked some butt. So something to consider. I think this is $2.49 for a big old whopping pile. 150 calories per serving, sticks to your ribs. Here's another neat thing. I was going to say I don't generally do brand recommendations, but I've recommended Jetboil and Bic, so yes, I do. Jack Links, I don't know if anyone else makes these or not, but let me tell you something very cool about this. This is breakfast bacon and sausage in a bag, and it's not compressed meat sticks. When you open this envelope, which we will in our next food video, it's bacon, and it is good. Best bacon I've ever had? No. Best bacon I've ever had on the trail. I'll promise you that. Both of them come in a hot and spicy and a standard flavor, both the sausage and the bacon. Great addition to your breakfast. They are a little bit expensive. They are about $6, about more like the backpacking rations, but once in a while, that little extra motivation is worth the money. Again, for breakfast, this is instant pancake mix. Add water, stir, you got pancake mix, and you can make fresh hotcakes right there by the trail. Again, don't take it in this envelope, put it in a little Ziploc bag so you don't have this whole container to deal with. This is a 59 or 69 cent bottle that I bought at Dollar Tree or Dollar General. I don't know what its design purpose was, but I can tell you that I have used it for carrying honey or syrup. It has been my sweetener container for many, many years and works great for that. Again, if you lose it or break it, it's 59 cents, so what? But now you've got pancakes and syrup by the trail. Nice addition. Here's another breakfast option. Instant cereals. These happen to be cream of wheat. I've got Cinnabon and normal flavor, but there's oatmeal, cream of rice, farina. Add hot water, stir, you've got instant breakfast. How nice is that? To start your day with something that's good and hot and filling. Again, you don't want to suffer out here on the trail, folks, and this is a good way to make sure that you don't. Here's another option, the humble potato. You can throw a potato in your backpack and carry it the length of the Appalachian Trail, and that thing's not going to go bad. When you get more like the cornbread, it's not something you can do quickly, but when you get to your camp at night and you've got everything set up, break your potato out of your backpack, wrap Mr. Potato up in some aluminum foil, slide it into the coals, let your potato bake for 30 or 40 minutes, maybe a little more depending on your elevation, and you've got a hot, fresh, baked potato by the trail. How nice is that? Now, I know you're saying to me, Dan, you've pointed out a number of things here that would be great if we had some butter, potatoes, cornbread, pancakes. Well, you're absolutely right. I don't have any with me, I'm out, but I will link below. There is a company that manufactures powdered butter in very small quantities. I believe it's a 2-ounce serving for $4.99. You simply add water, stir, and you've got butter. Butter that will not go bad on the trail. Even parquet and that kind of thing, you can't just throw it in your backpack in 90-degree heat and carry it around because it will go bad and it will make you sick. But this way you can have butter. Again, I will link it below. So now I got cornbread with butter, potatoes with butter, pancakes with butter. How nice is that? So you'll see the link for it below. Fruit. A lot of people don't think about fruit. Apples, pears, peaches, bananas, mangoes, it doesn't matter. It's got some sugar in it for a good pick-me-up. They generally have a lot of moisture, so it gets you some fluid. Tasty, psychological victory. I will give you a little piece of advice. Don't take thin-skinned things with you, like, for example, grapes. You put them in a bag, they get jostled around, the Ziploc bag inevitably leaks and contaminates your last pair of clean socks. I'm speaking from experience here. But fruit is a great thing for the trail, and it's something a lot of people don't think about, and they should. Highly good for you, very digestible, great option for the trail. Sandwiches, another great option for the trail that people don't think about. You can carry bread or a bagel in a Ziploc bag. You can make toast because we now have our powdered butter. You can make sandwiches. Here we have individual servings of peanut butter and make the same things in jelly. They also have almond butter. There's a wide selection, but you can have PB&J on the trail. Again, it's a collapsible envelope. When you're done, like the tuna, it's not much to carry. But for some people, a PB&J is a wonderful comfort food, and here's your way to take it with you. There are also other uses for peanut butter, which we'll talk about in future videos. I generally carry a little pack with me inside my vest anytime I go out in the woods because there's other things you can do with it, which we'll get to later. All right, let's step up here. Nuts. You don't necessarily have to carry these little individual bags. Again, you can buy a large container and put it into a Ziploc bag of your choice. Nuts are great for the trail. You can eat them while you walk. They're high in protein. They've got some fat to them. I can't say enough about these, and so many people I've talked to just don't think about it. They're all thinking about, pre-prepared rations and not just the little things you're going to want to snack on during the day while you're walking. Nuts are great. I often take pecans because I have pecan trees in my yard, but almonds, pecans, pistachios, sunflower seeds, these are all very good options for the trail. All right, granola bars, the old standard. We now have power bars, sports bars, a lot of things, but something of this nature will be a very good choice for you. Comfort foods on the trail we've talked about are important. These are easy to eat. They're very small. They'll wad up into a small area where you can get them. The packaging is nothing when you're done, as we've discussed before. But again, just munch on them on the trail. These are chocolate chip. Sometimes that psychological victory is very, very important. Raisins. I said earlier, don't take grapes. I know people that have, but I don't recommend it. Here you go. These are, I think, 100 calories a box. I think they're $2.99 for like 8 boxes. Wonderful trail food. Munch them while you're rolling. They're going to give you a little bit of sugar and some good nutrients. I highly recommend raisins if you're a fan. Ultimate comfort food, candy. Now, I am not a sweets person. I gave up pies and cupcakes and cookies and all that stuff about 20 years ago just as a health move. But when I'm on the trail, boy, I do like a little bit of candy. And I'm going to recommend M&Ms for a very simple reason. And that is they were designed to be a weather and climate friendly candy. You take a Snickers bar or a Reese's, both of which I adore when I'm eating sweets, they're a mess on the trail. They're an absolute mess. If they get the slightest bit hot, they're never going to come back together. They're all over you. They're all over your gear. These were originally designed so that regardless of climate, the hard candy shell would contain the chocolate and it wouldn't be a mess. Wonderful for the trail. Absolutely wonderful. I highly recommend taking a little bit of candy. You'd be amazed what it does for you if you need a little energy burst or just psychologically because it's so tasty on the trail. Condiments. I know you're thinking, well, Dan, what about salt and pepper and all that stuff? This is where your friendly fast food store really comes into play. All of these wonderful individual serving packs, salt, pepper, garlic, pizza seasoning, mayonnaise, ketchup, mustard, ranch, soy sauce, all kinds of good stuff in individual packaging. Now, I'm not saying go down to your friendly neighborhood fast food joint and hork up 40 packets for free just because you can. But if you start thinking about this, every time you have fast food, get an extra pack or two. Save the ones you don't use, tuck them in the fridge, and pretty quickly you'll have a very nice selection of things you can put on to flavor up your meals while you're on the trail. It's nothing. It doesn't mean anything. It's 20 calories or whatever, but it does mean something in your head and to your overall experience. So these are wonderful, wonderful ways for modern packers and hikers to flavor up their food while they're on the trail. Yes, liquids and fluids on the trail. I have to share this with you. Liquid IV, hydration multiplier. So I'm going to assume that this will turn my 1 quart of water into 4 quarts, or if it's multiplying my hydration. I don't even like that word. I drink, I don't hydrate. Anyway, but it also utilizes CTT, cellular transport technology. Now there's your $3 word of the day, CTT hydration multiplier. This goes back to the original episode in which I said I was not a huge fan of carbon nanotube, this, that, and the other. This is very fancy and very expensive Gatorade. That's what it is. Cellular transport technology, saints preserve us. In any case, a lot of people don't want to exist in the trail on purely water or coffee. They'll want to take something with them to flavor their stuff. And that's fine. There's Kool-Aid with sugar in it. There's Gatorade. There's tea bags. There's hydration IV cellular technology. But if you want to take something like that, the individual servings, you pour them right in your water, shake them up, and it will improve the overall quality of your water if you're a person that needs flavor in your things. If you just like pure water on the trail like I do, it's not all that relevant to you. Well, there's a good general overview of what's available out there and some things you really may not have thought about in terms of backpacking food. Next time you're at the grocery store, take a minute, walk through the aisles and look and think, okay, could I adapt this simple thing to what I'm doing? I will caution you about things that say microwavable. Just adding hot water to them on the trail doesn't work. They will never reconstitute properly. Microwavable foods that you just soak in hot water, marginal at best, sometimes almost unedible. So think about it when you're walking through the grocery store. I hope this has been some benefit to you. On the next episode, we'll actually go out and cook and give you a better idea of how to use this. But if it has been a benefit to you, we hope you'll come back and see us again. I'm Dan with High Country. We'll catch you next time.